Welcome to an upload of Steel Talk and Iron Responses.
Folks,
What's up, world? It's your boy Knowledge the Guy, Key of Life Production. Hip hop is real. You already know we out here in the city once again with Brother Herman Smalls. Brother Smalls, how's everything going?
Peace. I'm good, brother. Things are well.
I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship today. One of the things that this new era of information and everything has given us is the opportunity to become entrepreneurs, man. There's multiple things, multiple businesses, and just the importance of using your talents and not just working for someone for the rest of your life, and just learning how to be creative, being uncomfortable, and putting yourself in a position where you're counting on yourself now. We out here in front of the Mac store, and we know for that to
Apple,
even be
Apple.
well, the Apple store,
Okay.
the Apple store, and
That sells, man.
that sells Mac products and everything. But we know for this to even be, a reality, someone had to invent it.
Yes.
Someone had to be an entrepreneur. Someone had to go and say, take a risk, take a sacrifice.
Right.
And I wanted to, just get your opinion on the importance of entrepreneurship and why people should be entrepreneurs, especially in this new age.
Yeah, and then I want to be careful with this because of something I'm finally having to accept that was a little difficult for me to accept. But now I think I'm getting it. I'm finally getting it that everybody I know everyone doesn't desire it, but everybody ain't cut out for an entrepreneurial path. Now, and I thought everyone who doesn't want to be their own boss, who doesn't want to have say over their success, their amount of wealth, who doesn't want to guide that ship. There's some people who don't want that responsibility. There's some folks that they're just really kind of comfortable with someone else paying them for something that they do, and they want that to be a lifelong relationship where they will get a pension, they will get a retirement package, they will get things that they feel is worth 40 years of their life committed to a company. I'm really accepting that, and I'm not saying that in any kind of bad way. I mean, my father kind of did both. My father retired from the post office, I believe, with 30 some odd years, but at the same time, he held down a government job. He ran a successful social club. He had a transportation business. I think most of you know who follow me know my family comes up from South Carolina. And so we had, from our social club to South Carolina, he had a bus company that took family members back and forth. So he was constantly developing entrepreneurial endeavors, and holding down the job. So I learned both. I saw him come in with the postal uniform, take that off, put on his clothing to go handle his business at his business. So I saw both worlds, and I knew which one was most important to him, and I knew which one I think, blossomed most in. It clearly was the entrepreneur, and that vision was so clear and strong to me, which why I'm an entrepreneur. There could not have been another path. Or maybe I'm the next generation where I did little odd jobs till I got to this point. I've been an entrepreneur for my 30th year, will be next year. So from that perspective, being an entrepreneur, if you know it's for you, if your blood, if it's something that, if you got to kind of grind for your product, your service, that you're well ready to, one, get the knowledge about that area and master it and bring it to an open market and say, guys, if y'all want this product, this service, I'm the person you need to come to it for. If you feel that way and you like the freedom of entrepreneurship, there's no other way for you but to do like Knowledge of God just said. Start putting yourself out there, getting that kind of feedback where you have to grow as an entrepreneur. But yeah, I think there isn't an other way.
When you look at being an entrepreneur or starting your own business, a lot of times people don't understand that they have the ability in them already, and it's just about uncovering their natural talent. And what made you decide, or what is your passion that made you decide to say, let me turn what I love to do a business?
And maybe it sounds kind of corny, and I don't remember the first time I heard it said, but I know I've heard several great people say it. If you want to go into business for yourself, the most ideal situation is why not do it with something you love? If it's something you love, if you like to bake, if you like to put clothing together a certain way, you go, fashion, restaurateur, or, I love fitness. I love physical competition, one, but also physically challenging myself to see how much more I can get, out of this physical vessel. And that got introduced to me at such a young age. I mean, I locked into this at like 12, 13, which is, again, another formative time of my life. And then a grandmaster instructor. So that's why instructors are so important. Because when you do find what is a love, a passion, you want to have someone able to give you an introduction to it that assists you in further connecting to it. Some folks, to stay with fitness, have got folks that just made it such a rough, tough experience. They were sore for 2 days, and they just couldn't. They like, I ain't never gonna work out
back.
again. Yeah, so they reject
it's like
the
a
whole
shock.
Yes. Now
body shock.
They reject the whole process instead of saying, yo, the person I was rolling with did some crazy stuff. So it's not fitness that was wrong. But if that happens too early, you'd be surprised how many people have such a negative experience related to them doing some kind of exercise to now they've turned their back on it, where a good trainer would walk you along the way. So I use that as an example that when you bring yourself forward, you want to put forward the best you can in a way that's going to serve you and serve the community. Follow your love, and you're going to be okay. Because even though those days that won't be a plenty, there's going to be early days while you're getting yourself established. If you're in a position to save first, that's the best position to launch yourself into entrepreneurship. Have a little nest egg. I would say a minimum of 6 months of survival. Rent, food, utility, everything covered for 6 months. If you can't, and I don't want to sound too rough, but this is the grind. That's the grind I would put a person on. If you can't be self-sustaining in 6 months, and self-sustaining meaning the basics, your rent paid. First cut back all the crap you don't need. You don't need no blanket cable. For some of you sisters, you don't need to be up in no salon every week. Yeah, put a cap on for a little while. How long can you grind? Because those bills are going to keep coming now. Those bills say, oh, you're trying to be an entrepreneur. Okay, we will go away. No, they ain't going away. Bills are going to be there. So if you can't be self-sustaining in 6 months, then maybe that ain't for you. And some folks, oh man, you being rough. Give them a year. No, find out if you can swim. How long you got to be in water before you find out whether you're going to stay on top or not. If it's not for you, yeah, then go back on somebody's job. But if it's for you, even if you eating, tuna fish and wheat bread for a week. I'm talking about a grind, man. If you serious. If you ain't serious, then it ain't for you. But you get to that self-sustaining point, and you from there, and you take a breath, and you keep going, man, there's some wonderful things in entrepreneurship. I think any young person that wants to have the kind of freedom later in life needs to be on this path.
One thing I could say, when I speak to young people or people around my age about being an entrepreneur or starting their own thing, they make it, they realize, okay, I enjoy this thing, I want to do this business, but they don't realize the amount of work it takes and being uncomfortable doing things that you don't like. Because sometimes the things you don't like is what helps you to do the things that you do like. I may like shooting videos, but then I have to drive and get to the place. I may not like to drive. I may have to, talk to people I'm not comfortable speaking to. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a reporter or interviewer, there's other things that comes with that.
Right.
Learning the camera, learning certain things.
Yeah.
It's not just, I want to be a director and I just want to, no, there's multiple things that come with that. So even with you with fitness, I'm sure it's not just about you learning how to work out. There's other things you have to learn. So just, explain to them.
What you said is just, it explains what the ultimate dilemma is. To understand what you just said takes a level of maturity, man. And sometimes, most times, young people want to start on top. They want to walk in, C.E.O., okay, I'm taking the rest of the day off, and leave. They don't know to get to that spot where you the shot caller, where you decide. It takes a grind, like I talked about earlier. So, and some young people, there's those gems that got it from somewhere that can grind, but a lot of young people don't want to grind yet. And then some of the music that's been pumping, and the videos they watching, and they seeing their peers, 20-something, with $100,000 car, and they figure they can do that too quickly. And then, that brings it to other stuff. But if you're really ready to grind, then everything you just said becomes a factor. Then you learn all the intricate parts, because you can love one part of it, like you may think you like bacon, you really may like eating. You like the way it tastes, but because you gotta get the ingredients, you gotta mix, you gotta get flour up on your nose, you gotta be on time. People, you gotta know how to customer service. To do a business, it's a lot to it. So because most don't lack that maturity, they get in again, just like the fitness analogy. The analogy I gave with fitness is that they did something and they had a negative experience and it stopped them from continuing it. The person who thought they could be in business with something realized their customer service thing may not be great, or they don't like all of the experience related to preparing that product or that service. So understand it and look at the parts of it, and if you still love it after that, then it's for you. Because with the training, the earlier parts of it, there's things, your body feels sore, but then you start learning to love the difficult parts.
Well,
and I know that sounds odd.
You may have to learn how to set up the business, set up your IEN number, set up even if you got to do certain things, and just actually setting up how to gain customers.
Yeah.
Like, that's being uncomfortable. That's not your expertise. You might like to just work out, but you have to learn how to bring people to your business.
Yeah.
And that's a whole new skill that you have to learn. So just speak to them about having to learn multiple skills and things like that.
Yeah, what I use as an example the most is the fitness field profession. And with that, okay, great. You learned, either like it and experiment with it on yourself and start creating a healthy lifestyle. The next thing is you do need to learn. You do need to get information, about nutrition, about anatomy, about supplementation, about rest cycles, and not just for one generation, older clients, younger clients, prenatal, postnatal fitness information.
Wow.
Depends on which area you want to master. Then there are the certifications. There's the knowledge you need to get to successfully become certified. And then from there, you might want to go further into physical therapy, nursing.
So it's not just when you have a passion and you want to be an entrepreneur. It's never just one thing.
No. You might have the core, and each thing I mentioned, the core is the same.
Yes.
It's about the temple and making it healthy. But you can do that in many different venues. Find out the best one that fits you, and make sure you're stepping into that. Those are the best connections. Whether it's singing, someone who loves to sing, in their shower sing, you put them in front of a crowd, it's a different thing. Some people make that transition and it's okay. So it's just about experimenting with what that product, that service, that talent is that you have. And then once you master it, the other thing we got to do more of is reach that hand back and pull other folks up. And my brother, I'm going to mention his name, he's actually, don't get the credit he deserves in that. But again, we're in social media. Brother Sarnetta is famous for that. He opened up and laid a groundwork for so many brothers right now.
That's a fact.
That are really, getting a level of attention and opportunity that came directly to him. And I just recently found out, I don't understand all the little stuff about the numbers and what you have to do. He even walked several of those names that we all know, through the process that allowed them to now financially be able to benefit from. So that brother, there's a lot of credit he deserves for things that are done away from the camera that the brother hasn't getting. So, but back to your question, learn it, master it, and then whenever possible, open that door for another brother and sister to come right up on in there through you.
Earlier I was speaking to you off camera just about some of my experiences. Going to college and reading certain things, going to school for business, looking at the criteria, because I had an early mindset of wanting to have my own business. So looking at the criteria of what it takes to get the money, to do certain things. One thing I realized, it doesn't always apply to us because we don't always have the ability to walk into a bank and get a loan. We don't always have friends and family who could sign off or co-sign or even help us financially because they're going through financial situations. And it seems like, the normal path of being a business owner and things like that doesn't always apply to us, especially as, black people living in America. I mean, some of us do. Some of us have families that set us in place, but the majority, from what I see, are going through a lot of difficult situations, lack of education on credit, lack of education on how to get a proper loan, interest. We really don't have. And even the ones that are smart, that may know everything about everything else, but don't know how to get good credit or how to build good credit. Or, you know what I'm saying? So what advice would you give to those who are in that situation but still want to be an entrepreneur but doesn't know how to get off and may not want to take penitentiary chances?
Right, I'm telling you.
May not want to put their life on the line, doing certain things that they, may have karmic, ramifications.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what other advice? What can they do?
I mean, excuse me. I mean, you just laid that out nicely to even expand a little on it. And I know, quote, again, conscious community, but just black people in general. Okay, let me say it this way. The population I'm speaking for 95% of the time that I'm on here saying anything about anything, the population I'm speaking for is my people in the underclass, the underclass masses. The folks who's trying to find a way and trying to connect dots and make ends meet, and really dealing with some pretty stressed situations related to housing, related to family situations, related to health. So the things that I'm giving is mostly for them, because we do got
the majority of us, really.
Yeah, well, yes, but then the thing is, and you know what? I want to. This is going to be an interesting thing, because I've thought about this a lot. I think there is now we know this. There's a segment of black folks that are doing lovely.
Yes. Very well.
There's folks that are straight up on that Cosby tip.
Yes.
Now the thing is, a lot of them listen to social media, so I know they be probably thinking we don't ever acknowledge that. And I'm talking generationally. This ain't new money.
No.
So we got black folks that have that never saw the inside of a project.
Yes.
And no one in their generation will be. So I say that to say, their mindset, they come to the table with the knowledge that the masses aren't getting. I think 90% of our problems will be solved, man, through financial discipline, man. We gotta discipline ourselves financially. Now, again, if you ain't got much, you never been taught about much related to finances, where do you learn how to discipline yourself? Okay. So right out the box, the first thing, whenever possible, saving is the first discipline. Now, but if you barely making it, what you got to save? So I know there's so many catch-22s, but if you can squeeze out that $5 a week, I'm making it really minimal. If for larger brothers who all got, I'm going more to middle class, a city job, a government job, and if you can put $500 a week or $500 every 2 weeks, something away solid for investment in an area that you can move to autonomy. Again, entrepreneurship. So since we don't discipline ourselves financially, we end up not building the kind of things that the acquisition of real estate, the acquisition of land, the acquisition of things that you generationally pass on wealth. A car ain't gonna pass wealth on. All those designer suits you bought, that's not wealth on. One of your nephews or somebody could wear it after you're gone or something. But I'm talking, seriously, we gotta get to that stage. But when you're on such a survival level where the basic needs are just barely getting met, and you're not even rolling in a circle where you can collectively bring people together, like we spoke of earlier, those are the conditions that, one, you gotta create an opportunity for yourself based on your skill or your grind in an institution. And I don't knock any initial job. Any job that you can sustain, either get enough to obviously take care of your needs, but save a little, that's a good job that will position you to the next step. The other good thing about a job, try to get a job that puts you in contact with other opportunities. And a very quick story, in my building, we have a security company. There was a young brother that worked with that security company. I don't want to say the company's name, but he was just, they had maybe 3 security guards. They cycled through there. But this brother, his personality, and he was a young guy, but his energy, he was just so up every time I saw him. And security is not supposed to answer the door. That's not one of their responsibilities. But he up from behind the desk, getting the door, helping with bags. He's just putting himself in a situation where he's just always helping people. And just always, respectful to the older tenants. Vibing with the young ones, fist bumps for them. His personality was just off the chain. Obviously, someone saw that in him, gave him an opportunity to manage because he was so good with people. That brother just went on. The last I heard, he was helping that same person manage 3 of his restaurants.
That's dope.
Now, this from, I think, back then, and I think it was like a $6 an hour position. So, but he was in it, and he had such an energy that other opportunities opened up for him. So don't ever knock where you are, but okay, if that job financially may not be paying, it doesn't create another dynamic where you can network, or it doesn't put you close enough to an industry you may have always wanted to be in. You could be a maintenance person inside an art gallery. And you got in your basement a whole bunch of art you've been working on, and you might be able to pick a contact up that, in that next showing, can I bring one of my pieces up? Can I put it over there in the corner? You got to figure out ways. And again, that entrepreneurial mindset, even at a job, you can have an entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah, I'm going to fulfill the responsibilities of this job, but I'm going to look for other opportunities to network and to connect with people that will really move me towards the direction that I have a strong desire for. So I'm hoping that point is helpful, but it's about building. It's about making a way out of no way. And if you don't have that ability, man, life ain't gonna be no crystal stair. Yeah. It's gonna be some rough
also,
times.
one thing I just wanted to add is having a positive outlook and staying positive. I think that helps a lot too, because we could be going through the worst thing. Your mother might be sick, and then you can't eat and things. But having that positive mindset to know that everything will be okay.
Yes.
I don't know. That's helped me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How can you? Who was I speaking to? I was speaking to a friend of mine. Oh, and then I don't want to.
I understand.
A sister was and it was about somebody who is in the news right now. The whole Usher thing, and I don't want to go into it because that's just such. But the sister I was speaking to had said, "Wow, his life must be just terrible right now." Or he must be feeling and dealing with with the kind of details that are coming out and stuff. And I think she said, how did she say it? Like, wow, how is he going to get up tomorrow morning? How is he going to continue to deal with his life? And I was saying, I'm not sure how, but no matter how dark things get, you better be able to see that sun come up the next day, because if not, what is the next option? And then another story, the same sister I was speaking to, who is in the medical field in New York. There was recently a shooting. A doctor had come back to a medical facility and started. Well, from the story that came out later, that doctor was back there to kill someone who got him fired. He felt unjustly, but the thing was, the dynamic that she ended up sharing was he was a doctor from one of the countries. I forgot. It was. I should have more detail before I even brought it up, but it was an African country. Look at that dynamic to come from there and achieve an MD, and for what was determined that he lost the job based on some interaction he had or allegedly had, because there was some details that may not have been true, but he lost his job and was not able to get another job for a year. Well, that still doesn't justify any behavior, but those are the kind of things, because you got to be taking lead of when you have lost all hope, you going, now the only solution right now for you to go forward, and not to go forward, the only thing you have to do now is to go kill somebody and kill yourself.
Cause more pain.
Yeah.
Cause
So,
more
but
pain.
not just more pain, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
You don't see nothing else.
Yeah.
So you had to have been a very intelligent person to achieve an MD. So the intelligence was there, the discipline was there, but it goes all out the window if you under enough emotional stress. Like you don't see that sun coming up the next day, and bitterness and anger, whether it's just or not, you got to figure out a way to keep going. Because if not, then that mind becomes so dark that you want to end your own existence and other people.
And you also, just to get on a spiritual aspect, you leave yourself open to spiritual attacks and things from different entities or whatever that may come and add on to that. Because they feed, you have energies that feed on that depression, that anger, that fear, and things of that nature. So,
and somebody else inside the news, love him or hate him, he back up in the news, O.J. Simpson.
And
he walked up
smiling, happy,
sat in that courtroom like he done been at a resort or something, man. Brother looking good for what, 70? He looking good
after
for 70.
Serving 9 years straight, and he came out smiling like, hey, man.
With a little pep to his step, he kind of sat down.
So it's like he didn't have his head down.
And then some people are angry at that. He's arrogant. He's still arrogant.
He's wrong for that.
People got so much with, don't let a black man got any kind of spine. Man. That bothers people. And I'm not saying this in favor. I'm not saying some of that criticism he's not worthy of.
But it's just like...
But don't... he feel good about himself. Let him feel good about his damn self.
Because we got a lot of other people, white people who do all types of crazy stuff. Go to resort-type jails and live. But him, he's being demeaned. Whether he's right or wrong or whatever. But
and then, and then another brother that I respect, and he coming off the chain. He been dropping some stuff, and then I think he's on that entrepreneurial tip. He ain't got nobody signing his check, obviously, because he just a commentator, H.L. Hughley. I caught a little.
D.L. Hughley? Not the comedian.
The comedian.
D.L. Hughley.
D.L. Hughley.
D.L. Hughley.
And I caught a little snip. I mean, he kind of said something. He was just moving fast, but it was an interesting analogy. The analogy he made because someone told him that he was making the equating O.J. Simpson and was it the Rodney King? No. Oh, O.J. Simpson and Obama. Now he was saying both of them took advantage of a system that was slanted against them. And his analogy, or the analogy he got from his friend, the presidential election, it wasn't designed for no black man to become president.
Nope.
This damn country wasn't put together for a black man to become nothing if they had it their way. But definitely not president. The legal system ain't for black people.
Nope.
Anybody who looks at it fairly cannot come to any other conclusion. And so O.J. Simpson went in there and flipped it, and then after killing two white people in America, and you get away with it.
One of the most high-profile cases of all time.
It doesn't happen. So anyway, his fame and his money and the expert attorney, Johnny Cochran, got him off. So he beat the odds in O.J. Simpson. And the analogy H.L. Hughley made was...
D.L. Hughley.
Oh, D.L. I keep calling H.L. D.L. Hughley made was that that caused white anger, American white anger, and they put legislation, and they just began to express their anger in ways that punished us collectively.
Systematically, though.
Yes, because they felt they were punished collectively.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
But something that they get away with on a daily.
Yeah, but we never supposed to.
How many cops right now killed so many brothers and get off and get a check and get pension
and continually killing?
And then it's like continuous right now, like to the point where it happens so much we don't even talk about. We don't even have the energy to even talk about it, because we start talking about this week, it's gonna happen next week. And it's like, and then there's no justice at all.
And before I leave the Hughley story, one little criticism I made, and I don't know, maybe he wasn't thinking. He said, OJ is a murderer, and so is and Obama. I don't know if OJ did that, and I'm not. I really do.
Well,
I'm not.
He's been acquitted of all charges.
Well, that we know, but I'm just saying, really, away from all of that, because sometimes people get acquitted, like, yo, man, he did it. I don't know he physically did it. Now, did he have? So for him to say OJ's a murderer, I thought that wasn't being fair to another black man. He said, people still think he's a murderer. So unless
Stephen A. Smith did the same thing. He got out. He was mad that OJ got out. He said that's messed up. We know he's a killer, and I'm like, damn.
We know he's a killer?
like you know what I'm saying?
He said that?
Yeah, he said that. He probably didn't say we know exactly like that, but he said he's a killer.
Well,
like we know that he
Hughley said he's a murderer. He did say it like that. And I'm like, whoa. So that was a little strong. So I don't know if the brother didn't think that through. And that brother been dropping, he been on Trump like nobody else. He ain't cutting Trump no slack. So that was the build he was having. But again, back to the thought. If your son ain't coming up for you the next day, man, you be off into some stuff you don't want to be into.
That's right.
And again, if you ain't gonna hurt nobody, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna start drinking. You're gonna start doing negative stuff to yourself.
Yes.
Eating ways that are harmful.
Yes. Yes.
When you're losing love or you're losing losing hope that things are going to get better, that sets up a cycle where only negative things are going to start to come back to you.
I wanna basically leave on this one last thing. This last topic about how important it is for us to help each other, support each other, because if anything, man, you know, we can't continue to be each other's biggest enemy because we have enemies that are always continuously stopping on us, and we've created this cycle where we have become each other's worst enemy. But you know, just speak about the importance of helping each other out. You know, you've done a lot for me as well. Just, you know, once I've met you, you've been putting me in the right position, helping me to get in positions to win, even when things may look crazy in my personal life. I've been given hope. You know what I'm saying? Just to me personally. But how important is it for us to continue to help each other, even for those of us who are wealthy, who have generation wealth, who have the information? You know, brothers like Boyce Watkins giving us the proper information and things like that. How important is it for us to be there for each other mentally, physically, financially, and things of that nature?
It is vital. It is vital. And being there in big ways and in little ways. You know, a lot of times, you know, if you have resources, definitely look at where your resources can move and make things occur in the lives of those that are immediately around you. You know, if you don't have an active project going, if your money is not locked into something where, you know, you can't have access to it, it's not liquid, but you got some liquid money around, a grand or two can help a brother or sister get a nice little lift, get some inventory for a big event coming up, or if you can, you know, a mini loan to a brother or sister around you could be that one little come up that really puts them in a position to do good things. So we have to start doing stuff like that. Now, those are the medium to bigger ways. The little ways, you know, as we see those brothers and sisters that are struggling, you'd be surprised, speaking to people, you know, giving that dollar, that 50 cents to that homeless brother or sister. You know, that's not a big thing, but if that puts something in their stomach for that day. If you check your pocket, you don't have anything, saying a good morning to them, you know, touching them, patting them on the back, shaking their hand. Those are the little ways that lifting each other's spirit. You know, brothers, and you know, there's been a movement that's been just lovely. Have y'all noticed more sisters that are going towards natural hair?
Yeah, of course.
Man, I'm loving it.
Of course.
You know, and I try to make a point of sister, that hair looks lovely. Oh, sister, that natural cut looks great on you. Those
encouraging us, basically.
Yes. When you see a brother or sister making a step in a way that highlights our beauty, our strength, take a moment, even a compliment. So that's the spiritual, that's the mental, because again, we're cleansing a lot of psychological crap related to our self-love. So whenever we can show self-love through support financially, through our interaction with each other, through our praying together, whatever denomination you are, go to your brother's mosque or your sister's church, or go and have what they're experiencing and invite them to yours.
That's dope.
You know, just find ways that we can just get stronger, so and get more unified. So that is what, if you are on that vibe right now, you're right where you need to be. Just look around and see where you can best serve the situation around you. And as we were building on earlier, we got some very affluent black folks, generationally, and a lot of them still love black folks, and some of them still want to help. Now, you can find ways. And I'll just leave it at that, because if something is in your heart, the solution or the path is going to be there. If you want to do it, you will figure out a way to do it. And that could even be close. They might have someone working around them in a service capacity. You know, they might have a babysitter. They might have a maintenance man. They might have the brother sell newspaper at the newsstand. Look around and find out what some of their other dreams are. People are doing something for that moment, but they might have a dream that's in a different direction. If you see a young person and find out he's really a good violinist, you might be able to put him together with somebody who does concerts. You know a person who does art. You know a person who has a technical skill. They can fix computers, or a good mechanic. Whatever the service is, listen out for what other people's dreams are, and even through your direct influence or through your contacts. A contact can be priceless.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
A quick story. I'm in a building right now where I have some of my most lucrative clients. I got that through one contact I made about maybe 12 years ago at Black Expo USA. One contact through training that person. At that point, once I got in there, and then as my ability again, sharpen your craft. The blessings began to come, but through that one client that allowed me to get to a very high-profile building here in New York, that opened that door.
And even for myself, like just working with Red Pill, him opening the door for me to speak to multiple brothers, and just working with him, inviting me to Atlanta, meeting Dr. Linda Jeffries and Mama Pill, and just those things like that, just from him, just that us having that conversation, to me traveling to all these different places, and to the point where even he bringing me out to Brooklyn and me speaking to you for the first time. So just these little things, like you said, can be very vital. It doesn't always have to be financial.
No.
It doesn't always have to be that. It could just be us just saying, take that ride with me.
Yeah. Oh, you need to meet somebody.
Yeah.
And that hedge, from the time we walked, we've been building since that time we met.
Since that day.
And Pill was responsible for being down there. So the people that open those doors and make those connections. So for those listening, keep that in your heart and your spirit. Look for opportunities for yourself always, but for opportunity to help somebody else. Because that feeds that same universe that's going to bring it right back square, right where you are. So have that in your heart. But as always, knowledge the God, I enjoyed the build. And just speaking about all of the things we did. And for those who do take the time to look at these builds, we hope this information is helpful. All we're trying to do is provide insights and knowledge that's going to make us better as a people. So with that said,
just before we get out of here, I just want to, let the people know we got a lot more in store, a lot more to come. So thank you again, Brother Smalls, man, for everything you've done and for your continuous lifelong work, man. And definitely want to also let the people know that we got more coming with this health and working out and everything. We got some things that we're going to be working on as well to basically bring it to the forefront, because without a healthy body, a lot can't be done. So thank you again for your time, brother.
Always. Peace and love.